It is time for our weekly Q&A. For those of you who are new, my name is Tracy Matson. I'm a certified professional dog trainer and behavior consultant. I live in Utah with my 3 pit bulls, pit mixes, and so hopefully we will get a good crew tonight. If this is your first time when you enter the chat, just give me your name. Sometimes it just comes up as Facebook user. So just say your name and where you're from. So state or country. And that will enter you into the drawing. So I will be taking names as you jump on, just so I can do the drawing. We usually do the drawing at about 7. Unless we don't have a lot of questions, then I'll do it earlier. So I'm so excited to be here and see the cat up there. Had to check on the cat. So yes, I have a beautiful English cream board and training with me right now. So you may see my dogs coming in and out because they're playing right now, and they'll come check in, then go back outside. So you may see a few dogs coming back and forth, but that's what we're here for, is to talk about all things dogs. So yeah, if you have training questions or behavior questions, feel free to ask. I had a dog go home today that was really tough. I mean, this dog is only 5 months old and already like 90 pounds. So I'm putting like stuff on my neck. Yeah, so we were trying to do some crate training, and this dog will go into a crate at home, but just didn't want to go into one here. And so I pulled a muscle in my back one night trying to get this dog in a crate. Hey, Brian. And then today I had to take the dog home, and she wouldn't get in my car, so I had to almost lift her. So my neck is sore. So you'll probably see me putting like relief stuff on my neck. So Brian, how's it going? We've had, so I'll tell you my dog story from yesterday. So I had 2 board and trains here, and they're both puppies, but they're big. So one's a Bernedoodle that, again, 90 pounds at 5 months, and the other one's an English cream. But they both have like longer hair, and it's been raining here for like 2 days. Today we finally got a break, but the dogs would go out to potty and play, and then come in and shake and bring in mud. I mean, my house was trashed yesterday. I thought, I'm never going to get it all clean. So this morning I had 2 clients coming here to my house for training. So I had to get up and sweep and mop. I had to mop my floor twice just to get it clean. That's how bad it was. So I'm not sure that I will ever rescue a long-haired dog, just because it's so hard to, clean up after them. And I have pit bulls or pit mixes. They're short hair. Yes, they shed. I still have to sweep, but they don't make near the mess that a long-haired dog does. Then my roof started leaking into my kitchen. So in the rain, I am out on my roof trying to put roofing tar on there to seal it up and stop the leak. So it was an exciting day yesterday. So today, needless to say, I'm exhausted, but one of the dogs went home today, which was really good. Hi, Jenny. I honestly, since I know these people aren't on Pupford, I can tell you this. Indiana. Jenny, what's the abbreviation for Indiana? I know it's I something. IN? Because I always get like Indiana, Iowa. I think Iowa's IO. Anyway, I wrote it out. Um, but yeah, I was up there on the roof trying to fix it. All the dogs were in the yard, running around, playing. Oh, IN. Okay. And my one dog that's a fence jumper, she went over to the fence, and the people across the or the next, I mean my neighbors, they have a cat that runs around outside, and so I saw Jade kind of go to jump up against the fence, and I think she was thinking about it. And I was up on the roof where she couldn't see me, and I said, Jade, don't even think about it. And she stopped and turned around, and I love that that happened because now she thinks that even if she can't see me, I still can see her. And hopefully she will stop this like fence jumping thing. I usually have to keep an eye on her. Um, so yeah, she's very social, so she likes to jump the fence and go visit the neighbor's cat or the other neighbor's dogs. So it has been um, such a busy 2 weeks. Hey, Nicole. Oh, my awesome regulars. Oklahoma. Hey, Nicole. How close do you live to Miranda Lambert? I know Miranda Lambert is from Oklahoma, and I think she has a ranch there still. And I read somewhere that she opened a boutique in Oklahoma. So if you live somewhat close, I might be coming to visit. I love Miranda Lambert. So I actually had free tickets from where I worked. I could have gone to see her, but I have such bad like social anxiety. Like I'm not shy, but 6 hours. Okay. But just like driving in the city, finding parking, standing in line, um, and the seats were like way up in the nosebleed section. So I decided that I would just watch it on YouTube when it came, and that's what I did. So I didn't go, but I love her. My friends ended up using the tickets, and they said that they could hardly even see her. So I'm glad I didn't try it, but yeah, she's awesome. So Nicole, does she have a boutique in Tulsa as well? I mean, I'm assuming that she would have it somewhat close to where she lived. Um, oh my goodness, 45 minutes to Kansas. So I actually drove through Oklahoma. We had to go help a friend move in Kansas. So I've been through it. 30 minutes to Texas and an hour to New Mexico. Huh. That's awesome. You live like right in a good spot where you can drive to another state in not too long of a time. Um, oh, you grew up in Kansas. Awesome. I mean, I'm an hour from the Utah-Wyoming border, and I'm 5 hours from Boise, Idaho. About 4 hours to the Arizona, Colorado borders, but yeah, nothing close except for Wyoming is an hour. So, but if you want to go to the really pretty places in Wyoming, it's longer. So, okay, so what training questions do you guys have? Hey, Julie. Last week, Julie, I had just done the. I don't remember if I had just done the drawing and then you jumped on, or if you made it. I can't remember, but you made it tonight. Let me try and think of what cases I've done in the past week. Um, so we can do we'll do a scenario. Um, since I saw you guys last, oh, here's a good one. Okay, I'll tell you about my case study after I answer. 10-month-old beagle that I can't stop pulling on walks. Okay, so what I do for pulling, in fact, I just did this today with a client. We went outside. Every time the dog would pull, I would stop and not move. I didn't even say anything to the dog, just stopped and didn't move until the dog gave me a loose leash. And usually they'll like turn back to look at me like, why are we not moving? Um, and right when they turn back and the leash is loose, then I go again. So that's one method. That's called the stop and go or red light, green light. So tight leash means we stop, and loose leash means we go forward. Um, and and it's really important that you kind of tough it out, because sometimes we're, and I'm guilty too. It's just like, oh my gosh, let's just go for a walk. But every time the dog is able to pull from point A to point B, that gets reinforced. So the second one that I do is change direction. So if the dog is like out in front and pulling this way, I'll turn and go this way. And then when the dog turns, as soon as they catch up with me and they're right by my side, that's when I click and treat. And then usually the dog will take the treat, bolt out in front, and as soon as the leash is tight, I turn and go the other direction. So if the dog's pulling this way, I go this way. Um, but when the dog runs to catch up, I always reward like by my side. Now um, I don't make dogs like do a formal heel, and in fact, there's very few circumstances where I will actually do a heel with a dog, um, because it's good for dogs to sniff and explore on walks. Um, Most humans do not walk as fast as dogs need to go. And so they get more exercise, and it's better for them if they can like, explore and sniff and like take in all the smells and everything. So I do that, but I don't allow my dog to pull. So as long as they're not pulling, they get to sniff. Um, some bigger dogs, like the English cream that's staying here, he's big and he is a relentless hard puller. So, hey, Brian. Um, so, what I do for cases like that is I will drop treats um, right in front. So, I start out with this is the dog, drop a treat, take a step, drop a treat, take a step. And I'll drop a treat every step. And then once the dog is slowed down, and not pulling as much, then I'll drop a treat, take 3 steps, drop a treat, take 3 steps. So then I increase the distance. So then I'll go 3 steps, and then I might go 5 steps and then treat, and then 8 steps and treat. So I kind of go that way. Um, and I always reward when if the dog looks at me and checks in, I automatically reward that, because I want the dog to learn that when you check in and when you're close enough that you can check in, you will get rewarded. So I don't reward if they're pulling and look back at me, because I don't want to reward the pulling. But if they're like trotting along by my side and they check in with me, I click and treat. So yeah, that's basically the methods I use. Stop and go, change direction, and then drop treats right in front of the dog. Um, you could also try like a front clip harness, like the Freedom harness. That's what I use with my dogs. They don't really need the no pull anymore, but just because I have them, I still use them and I like them. But a front clip harness is going to make it so if the dog pulls, it turns them sideways or all the way back towards you. So then the dog can't pull. Um, like physically, it turns them around so they don't get rewarded for pulling. So you could try some equipment like that. I personally like the Freedom Harness over the Easy Walk. Hey, Karen. Um, I because it has the two attachments. You can clip in the front and the back, or just the front. I don't ever use just the back because if you have a back clip harness, um, that can actually promote pulling because dogs have what's called opposition reflex, and when they push against something, when they feel that pressure, they push against it. So that can actually make dogs pull more. So that's why even with the Freedom Harness, if I'm using the back clip, I will do the front and the back. So the only other time I may do a back clip if I'm introducing a dog to another dog and I just want to give them a little bit more freedom to sniff and turn and not have the clip like here. Not that it really gets in the way, but it's just easier for me to do a dog intro with the leash on the back. But yeah, I just think they're a little bit more sturdy and they have more support like up around here than the Easy Walk, in my opinion. So let's see. Moose is going to be in a parade this weekend, and next weekend Wilma is going to the Renaissance Festival. Awesome. That sounds like fun. This Sunday, I get to go do a fundraiser for something I've never even heard of, but they want me to bring Willie, my foster fail. You're a foster fail. You know that? So I'm taking Willie to a fundraiser, and that's what we get to do Sunday. But it'll be fun. Let's see. Facebook user. I have an 18-month-old pointer mix. He's very food driven. Having trouble with having him come when called. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. Oh, that's a great question. How do I get him to be more consistent? Okay, give me 1 second because I have a moth on my floor and I'll let hey, leave it. All the dogs kept like trying to mess with it. Okay, so this is how I do. I start with this like little orientation game where I will toss a treat out. So let me use my little guy again. He'll go get the treat, and as soon as he turns back towards me, I click, and then I feed like right on my thigh. So really, I don't really have anything. So, and I always do this on leash. So I always do it on leash. But I'll feed right at my thigh, so the dog has to come all the way up to me to get the treat. Then I throw another treat out, maybe the other direction. Dog goes out to get the treat. As soon as they eat it and turn towards me because I have treats, I click and treat. Then I start, once the dog's doing this and we do like 5 repetitions, then I'll start to add the word. So I'll throw the treat out. As soon as the dog gets it and starts to turn and come back towards me, that's when I say come, and then click and treat. So we play this little orientation game. So every time and it also teaches the dog that they come, they get a treat, and then they get to go again. So it's not ever bad or negative for the dog. So right when the dog starts to orient towards me is when I click. They come up, get a treat, and then I send them out again. Then I will always start with a 6-foot leash, and then I might like throw items down as distractions, call them. I'll always give them like a second to see if they're going to do it on their own. And if as soon as they like turn and start to orient and come, that's when I mark it. And when I say mark, I mean either the clicker or yes. So I'll say yes. And then the dog has to come all the way to me to get the treat. The reason I use the leash is because then if the dog chooses not to come, you can reel them in with the leash because you've got to reinforce it. When you say COME, they They have to do it and come and get a reward. Otherwise, they're going to learn to ignore your cue. And I've had several clients where we've had to come up with a different cue. We couldn't use come anymore because um, it was what we called, like, we poisoned the cue, meaning they used it so much that um, the dog just tuned it out and just totally ignored it. So once the dog's really good on a 6-foot leash, then I'll go to a 15-foot and give him more, like, more freedom, more space. And then, like, when the dog's distracted, sniffing something, then I'll say, like, Rover, come. And again, if they turn and start, I click and treat. And if they don't, then I kind of reel them in. So I don't jerk them, but it's just a very gentle reel. And as soon as they turn towards me and start to come, I mark and treat. And then I will graduate up to having the dog drag a leash so that and the dog has to be pretty reliable before I will get to the point where I don't have the leash, but I have them drag a leash. And that way, if you say COME and the dog doesn't, the reason I'm spelling is because all my dogs are here and I don't want them to, like, come over and then I have to treat them. So, but that way, if the dog chooses not to, you can go up and grab the leash and reel them in. Because every time you say COME, the dog has to come and get rewarded. Otherwise, if you think about it, if they don't come to you, they're getting reinforced for ignoring you because they're usually doing something much much better. If they're sniffing or exploring or chasing a squirrel, and you say COME and they don't do it, then they are going to basically get reinforced for ignoring you because they're doing something fun. So if my dog is off leash, I will, depending on the dog, like, I have one dog that will come no matter what. I have my other two are like, well, if we're doing something fun, if we're sniffing deer poop, we might take our time. So if I'm not 100% sure that they're going to do it and they're off leash, I will whistle. I'll say, over here, let's go. I will say something else and I will reserve the COME unless I'm perfect, that I'm comfortable and certain that they're going to do it. So the other trick is that you have to be more exciting than anything else in your dog's environment. So a lot of times if I'm doing the recall, I might run backwards, and as I'm reeling them in, and I'll say, oh, let's go, good dog, good dog, good dog. And, like, lots of fun and excitement so that it's fun for the dog to come to you. I have some people that'll just say, like, Rover, come. And I'm like, I wouldn't come to you. You sound mad. Like, I feel like I'm going to get in trouble. It always has to be fun and rewarding to come to you. So that brings up the next part of it, which is don't call your dog if you're going to do something negative. So if you're going to put him in a crate, take him out of the dog park, give him a bath, take him to the vet. You don't ever want anything negative to be associated with coming to you. So if that's happening, I just go get the dog. I'll just go get him, put a leash on. Oh, come on, we're going to go to the vet. So, yeah, that was a long answer, but hopefully that answered it. If he's not always consistent, I would go back to leash or have him drag a leash so that you can pick it up and reel it in. Jenny, I'm trying to get Buddy to sit when I stop on a walk. He refuses most of the time. I do treat when he does. Yeah, so I give a little cue. Like, as we're walking, when I know I'm going to stop, I'll, like, shuffle my feet and give the dog a cue, like, okay, we're getting ready to stop. And then I'll ask for a sit. If your dog's not sitting, couple things. It could be whatever surface you're on. Like, I noticed when it was really hot, on some walks, client dogs didn't want to sit because it was hot. Some don't want to sit if it's raining or if it's snow. They don't want to get wet, whatever. But you could try higher value treats. So if the dog's not sitting, either they don't know yet that you want them to sit, or it's not rewarding enough. So I would take maybe cheese or um, hot dogs. Oh, I also was at the store, and they have, the baby food like packets that you just, they're like squeeze things. They have peanut butter ones now, so you just squeeze it. And so I bought some of those. Um, that would be easy to carry, and so then I would maybe lure the dog like you would with a regular sit. So like shuffle your feet. I have one client that just like stomps twice, like they'll go 1 2 and then ask for a sit. So it just tells the dog it's time to sit. And then you could lure, even though the dog's on your side, you could lure them into a sit and then click and treat, and make sure that you're using something really good, um, that the dog will want to do it. And then eventually, you won't even have to say sit. The dog will just learn that when you stop, they sit. It does take a while to do that, but for the dog to generalize it like that. So, yeah, I would just keep working on it. See if you can give the dog a little hint, like you're getting ready to stop, and then maybe up the value of your treat so that he stops or wants to sit. And again, if I have a dog that doesn't want to sit, I just don't reward them. Like I just don't treat them. But if they don't want to sit because it's snowy and cold, or if it's really hot, I'm not going to make them and force them. I'll just say, okay, well, no treat, but we'll try again, and then I might, try again. So you could look at what surface you're on, look at what treats you're using, things like that. And then also make sure, and Jenny, I'm sorry, I don't remember what or how old Buddy is, but some dogs that are older, if they have like hip or back leg pain, um, sometimes they don't want to sit because it hurts, because it's painful for them. Um, but it sounds like Buddy just might be really distracted, or it's like not reinforcing enough to sit. So, yep, I would try that. Um, let's see, Brian, I had two plumbers come today as we had a leak under the sink. Yeah, I think you just heard my leak story, right? About my roof. She was barking and basically good, and then she gave a guy a nip on her ankle. Um, wow. Let's see. I mean, one thing you can do is, if you have somebody coming over that the dogs really don't need to meet, like the plumber or the FedEx guy or whatever, um, now that you know that Peyton might nip at somebody, it was probably a fear thing. Without seeing it or seeing the body language, it's hard to tell, but it could be a fear thing. And so, knowing now that she might do that with a stranger, if someone comes over, I would crate her. I would just say like, "Hey, Peyton, come on, let's go have a bully stick or a yak chew," and put her in a crate or in another room with the door closed. Give her something to do and chew on, and let the plumbers do their thing. Um, then um, we would have to figure out like why she did it. So was was she startled? I mean, if you can give me more details around what happened right before she bit his ankle. Um, was she trying to hurt the guy? Like, whenever there's a lot of stuff going on, some dogs feel like they have to be in control and they have to herd everybody into a group. And that's kind of what I think of when dogs like bite the back of a calf or the back of an ankle. Um, so yeah, to discourage it, and yes, we definitely don't want our dogs biting people, because luckily, your plumber was really good with the dogs. Um, but so we don't want them to bite, but there is usually a reason that the dog did that. Like, and I'm assuming it was Peyton that this happened. So tell me if I'm wrong. Um, But let's say the guy tried to pet and she growled or backed away and is like, "Nope, I don't want you to pet me." And then if they don't um, like respect that and they still try, dogs will usually go through a like lip curl and then they might bare their teeth and they might growl and then they bite. So again, it could be a startle thing. It could be that she was giving off signals that she didn't want somebody to do something and they didn't listen. So yeah, it's kind of hard to say without seeing it, but what I would do just for safety is when you have people come over to work, I would just put her like either outside or put her in another room with something to do. Um, and then if it is somebody that you want her to meet, you can bring the dog out like on a leash and just so that you can control the distance and you can kind of control what happens. So yeah, that would be my best advice without actually seeing it. Um, okay, let's see. Facebook user. Also, Facebook user, if you want me to enter you in the drawing, I just need your name and where you're from. Um, okay. Any guidance on even one of these issues? Kobe is an almost 5-month-old Labradoodle. I went back to work as a teacher last month and I feel like he's regressed. Yeah, at 5 months, and if you did, if your dog was with you most of the time during the summer, then any changes in environment can cause behavior to change. So he's crated from 10:30 to 4 with both of our work schedules, 2 to 3 walks a day. He doesn't let us know when to potty and he pees on the floor right after having peed outside. He used to use a bell, but now he just uses it as a toy. Um, so with potty training, it almost sounds like not a physical problem like a UTI or something. It definitely sounds behavioral. If a dog is like nervous or anxious about something, sometimes they'll pee. Um, but I would like if you can't supervise, I would put Kobe in a crate or tether him to you. And when you go outside, um, make sure like I would take him out on a leash so that you're just walking around and it's not playtime, it's potty time. And then make sure you're rewarding him for going potty outside. And then even after you've treated, because it sounds like he's not emptying his bladder all the way. So I would keep walking him around and just seeing if he still needs to go, if he has to do any more. But then if you come right in and he's peed outside and then he comes back in and starts to pee, interrupt. I clap my hands and I'll say, "Hey, outside." And then I would just start over as if he were an 8-week-old puppy. And just interrupt, take him back out and go potty again. That's what I would do. Um and sometimes, and I don't know what you did when he was a young puppy, but some people will do like a X pen with potty pads. The reason I don't like potty pads is because it teaches dogs to go to the bathroom in the house. So some people have to do that because they live in an apartment or they're up on the 5th floor and can't get down in time. Um, but if it is an anxious and I've worked with a lot of doodles. So without having met your doodle, I don't know if this is true, but a lot of doodles have anxiety issues, and they just tend to be more tense, like anxious dogs. So it could be something like that. We, but if that's the case, we want to try to find out like why he's anxious, and then try to fix that. So or like what's happening like right before. So you say that he's in the kitchen and you're right there. What's happening like right before he starts to pee? Like, does somebody yell or does somebody drop something? Or Is somebody giving him attention, so it's excitement P. Does that make sense? So, yeah, if we know why he's doing it, we can change things up. But if we don't, then I would crate him when you can't supervise, and then maybe take him out. When you take him out to potty, even after he's gone, walk him around some more just to make sure that he's done and that he is emptying his bladder all the way. Okay, let's see. I'll answer the next one too. The barking um, is incessant. When you put food out, when you come home on a tie out, when you're eating. Um, so if it's demand barking, like I want attention, yeah, ignoring sometimes doesn't work. So I'll use what's called a positive interrupter, and I use that's enough. So the first thing I do is take treats and I'll say, that's enough, treat. That's enough, treat. That's enough, treat. It's kind of like how you load the clicker. So that way, when the dog is barking and you're saying, that's enough, then they learn to stop. Oh, that means a treat's coming. Then you can reward and then try to redirect. So if he's in a kennel, cover the kennel. So I've had a few board and trained dogs here that love to bark in the kennel. And as soon as I put a sheet or a towel over it, they stopped. So it's like when they can't see what's going on, they start to bark. And the other thing I would do is make sure your dog is getting enough enrichment. So physical walks and stuff are great, but dogs also need mental exercise. So I would start feeding your dog in a snuffle mat, having your dog work for his food. And if that means throwing his cup of food out in the grass and letting him go hunt for it, do that. Or you can put it in like a treat dispensing toy, so he has to roll it around and figure out how to get his food out. Because usually when dogs have behaviors like that, like digging or barking or something like that, it means sometimes they're not getting enough exercise, or they're not getting enough like mental stimulation. So I would do things like a flirt pole, snuffle mat, the Kong wobbler. So like something like this where your dog has to move it around and figure out how to get the food out. So I would start to do something like that, and then try the interrupter, because when a dog barks, they're just communicating, and it could be like, I'm bored, pay attention to me, or I want your food, or you're ignoring me and I want attention. So we don't want to get mad at them for barking, because that's how they communicate. But we can tell them like, okay, that's enough. I acknowledge that you're here. Now you need to go to your crate and chew on a bone, or you're going to go to your crate and have a toy and then cover the crate. Or you can teach them to like go to a mat. I'm going to turn my computer so you can see. Miss Maddie is over there chilling on her mat. So, she's 11. So yes, I've spent many years training her, but, ignore something. Oh, so as an example, Maddie loves to, yes, I'm talking about you. Maddie loves to bark at the next door neighbor when he mows his lawn. So I'll go out and say, Maddie, that's enough. And then she'll come get a treat. I'll bring her in, have her go to her mat. And then she hangs out on her mat. And then I bring her in until the neighbor's done mowing his lawn. Then I let her out. So I would try that. Again, find out why the dog is barking, and then kind of fix that. One of my training friends did a webinar on barking. And one thing she said that was really cool is that if you can catch your dog before they bark and catch it and redirect them, that's even better. So example, Willie is handicapped. And so I have this little toy bucket, but it sits up on a stand. And so he used to go over and bark at it because he couldn't get the toys out. And so I would, go get it for him, like put it down on the ground and let him get out whatever toys he wants. However, that increase the barking, because to the dog, to him, it was reinforcing. It's like, if I stand here and bark, mom will come and get the toys down for me. So what I did is, before, if he started walking over to the toy box, I would go over and say, "Oh, here, buddy, you want these? Let's get these down for you." So he didn't need to bark, and now he doesn't bark at him anymore. So, um, if you catch them before they bark and like redirect or something like that, then that can help them to learn, like, not to bark. So let me go see if there's other questions. If there's not, I'll come and answer some more of yours, but I want to make sure I get everybody's. Um, yeah. Oh, hey, Renee. Oh, Jenny, your dog's only 6 months. So, yeah, it's not an old dog thing. Um, your dog is um, an adolescent teenager now. So sometimes it's like they're going to push the boundaries or see um, what they can get away with. So again, I would do the same thing, like take higher value treats and see if you can kind of do it that way. Um, let's see. So I'm curious, if you have a fenced yard. Well, okay, I think I know the answer, because you said he might jump the fence. So I have a dog who jumps the fence, and I would put her like on a cable. I'm just so nervous about having a dog on a tether when I'm not there to supervise, because they can tangle another dog. There's so many things that can happen. So what I started doing is, Jade, what are you doing? Good girl. So what I would do is, I go out with her and I just sit outside and work, and I let her run around and play, because I know she's not going to jump if I'm there. But I'm just nervous about leaving a dog tethered. How tall is your fence? Because, if your dog likes chasing squirrels and bunnies and chipmunks, I mean, honestly, I would be fine with that as long as they can't catch them. I don't like dogs killing animals, but like when we're hiking, I'll let my dogs go chase the squirrels because I know they can't catch them. But my other dogs also can't jump the fence. So yeah, it would depend. And what's going to change when you said that we keep him on a 20-foot lead, looking forward to when we can let him without a leash. So what's going to happen? What needs to happen for him to be able to go out into the yard without a leash? Because that's what I would start working towards. Okay. Let's see, Brian. She's very protective, and these guys are dog guys. He was walking away, but it was after 15 minutes. Oh, so if she's protective, some dogs will, and is Peyton more like on the fearful side? Because some dogs will like run up behind, and like when you're not looking, they'll come up and like bite and then run away. So it's kind of a fear thing. Like, I'm going to hurry and get you, and then I'm going to go away. So I would just try to redirect. If you see Peyton like following somebody, and you're like, oh, I don't know if she's going to nip or not, then again, I would catch her before she does that, just like I was talking about with the barking and stuff. I would catch her before she does it, and just say, hey, Peyton, over here, and redirect her before she can do that. So that's what I would do. So I had this really reactive dog that I was working with, and this dog was super skittish and fearful around people. And he would wait till you turn around and started walking away, and that's when he would lunge, but like super aggressively. And this was a Doberman. So, what we started to do was counter condition him to people turning. So the owner like had him on leash. I would come up and kind of like toss treats, and then I would just turn my back. And if he stayed still, then I would have the owner reward him. So then I would turn my back, take one step away. Owner would reward. And so we just did it a lot to where I would turn my back, take a step, and then I would even turn around and then treat him, and then turn around, take two steps. Um, so it's kind of like the look at that game that the engage disengage that you see talked about a lot on these Facebook pages, where the dog just notices somebody walking away or turning their back. So they just notice, and then that's when you click and treat for like calm behavior and not reacting. So that's what I did with this other dog. So I would do the same thing with Peyton. So let's see. Oh, I need to write some names down. Okay, so we have Wendy. Welcome, Wendy. From New Jersey. We haven't had anybody from New Jersey, I don't think. And Willow. Hello, Willow. Willow, I have not done the drawing. Oh, 4-foot fence. Yeah, that's oh, Gloria, welcome. Gloria, where are you from? What did I just do with my pen? Oh, there it is. So let me write Gloria down. Okay. So if your dog can't jump that high, I mean, I've seen dogs climb a chain link fence. We had a 10-foot fence at the rescue, and we had a pit bull that could actually climb the fence and go over. So yeah, if it makes you nervous, I would even have a leash on, but I would always be in the yard with him. So either he's in the house or he's in the crate chewing on something or playing with something, or you're outside supervising. I mean, luckily with what I do, I can do work. I can write training plans and do emails outside. So I'll go sit outside and work just so all the dogs can be out there, and I can supervise my dog that does jump the fence. So yeah, that's what I would do. Oh, Bill, you're getting your dog in 3 weeks. Awesome. So as you start training, oh, we have 2 people from Oklahoma now. Oh, Oregon. I love Oregon. I could actually live in Oregon. So now I lost my train of thought. Oh, solid wood. I mean, if your dog can't jump that high and it's a wood fence, I think you'd probably be fine. What kind of dog is it? Because some dogs are, Jade's pretty little, but she can jump a 5-foot fence. She's pretty agile. Hey, guys, what are you doing? Maddie! They're barking at something. So I'm trying to interrupt and bring them back in because I don't know what they're barking at. Okay. Let me go back. Okay, let me make sure I got everybody. Okay, I'm excited that we have some new people. Oh, what I was going to say, Bill, is when you start going through your puppy training, we do these once a week. I'm going to start doing them on Thursdays now just because I have a class on Wednesdays, unless we do like at 5. So then I'll try Wednesday. So it'll either be Wednesday or Thursday. And I always post, and I change the time around just to accommodate West Coast, East Coast, that kind of stuff. Oh, Gloria, you have a 3-month-old golden puppy, have had a week. Hey, sister, I hear you. So last weekend, I had 4 extra board and train puppies. I usually only do 1 to 2 at a time, but I ended up with 4, because I can't say no, and I have 3 dogs, so I had 7. Then 2 went home on Sunday, but one of them was, I am not kidding, one of the worst dogs I've ever had over here, like, neurotic and just, I mean, I was gonna call the dog a name, but I won't. Um, it was tough. I mean, I took the dog home today, and I've never been so glad to get rid of a puppy, um, because this dog was just, like, really tough to train. So, I get it, and this dog was 5 months old. So, that dog is, let me see what these guys are barking at. Are you guys just playing? Are you playing? Oh, they're playing. Go figure. My 11-year-old is playing. Oh my goodness. I'm going to show you guys. We're having a play fest. Can you see? So that's Maddie is 11. Jade, this is my board and train puppy. That dog is a puppy. Good job, guys. You can go play. Since Maddie's 11, she doesn't really play a lot anymore. So I always love it when I see her get a burst of energy and start playing. Jake, that's my pen. Here, bring it here. Jake, bring it here. Thank you. Good girl. Sorry. Jade got a hold of my pen and I didn't want her to get ink all over. But since she brought it to me and gave it up, I have to treat her. Okay, we're doing a little bit of dog training, like right here in the middle of our Q&A, but that's okay. There's one for you, one for you. Jade, you get 2 because you actually did the thing. Okay. Let's see, Nicole. I tend to reward Wilma for climbing on rocks and obstacles. Unfortunately, that backfired on me when we hiked up a waterfall and she leaped up on the edge that said danger, could have fallen over. Yes, so I would use like an emergency recall for that. So I kind of teach it like a regular recall, but I use a different word like retreat, and I pair it with a super high value treat that the dog only gets when she hears retreat. So like for my dogs, I use gizzard. And I know it's disgusting. I cut it up into little pieces and kind of have that on hand. So then if you use your like you can say retreat or now or walk away. And to the dog, that has to mean Thanksgiving or Christmas. That's how big this reward has to be. So that in the dog's mind, it's like, oh wow, we're having Thanksgiving back here, so I'm going to turn and go the other way and have best party and treats ever. So even if you're nervous and scared because of the danger, you don't want to let that reflect in your voice because it could scare the dog and then they might fall. But if you say like, oh, retreat, let's go this way. Oh, we're going to have so much fun. Use your high squeaky voice, make it really fun, and get the dog to go the other way. So, Nicole, if you email me, I will send you my walk away handout, and I would teach Wilma a retreat cue. We call it a flight cue. Brian, you could actually use this as well. So if you see Peyton starting to go towards somebody, you could say, Peyton, retreat or walk away. And so to the dog, it's like, oh, I really want to go nip him, but we're going to have Christmas back here. So I never get chicken hearts unless I hear retreat. So I'm going to go this way. So yeah, you could use that in that situation as well. So Bill, what kind of puppy are you getting? Let's see, how do I get Dakota to learn to back off of Ellie when Ellie starts to growl at her and not in a playful manner? I'm guessing she never learned it because she was separated too early from her mom. So what I do is if Ellie doesn't correct Dakota, then I step in and say, okay, that's enough. And then advocate for Ellie and be like put Dakota outside or put Dakota in a crate or have a baby gate where then they have to be in two different rooms. So you could use the flight queue for that as well. And that's going to mean to Dakota to like turn and change direction, and get the best party and treats ever. I don't like to overuse the flight queue because that's kind of like an emergency and you want to make sure that you're going to get the dog's attention. Um, and so yeah, if Ellie doesn't correct her, then I would step in and just say, "Oh, Dakota, gotcha. We're gonna go this way, and I'm gonna put you outside and give Ellie a break." Like if so, when because I have puppies here a lot, if a puppy is doing that to Maddie, and I know that Maddie's super chill, doesn't even growl, but if she goes in her crate, or I can tell like if the puppy's trying to lick her and she's like going like this and trying to avoid, um, I'll just redirect the puppy and I'll close Maddie's crate door just so she can have a break. So that's what I would do is if she won't back off, then redirect her and do something else and put Ellie in a safe place um, where she can have a break. Nicole, Moose can jump to the top of my 7-foot fence. Yes. I've seen dogs do 10 feet. In fact, I want to say that the largest fence that we had at the rescue was 20 feet. And I mean, this dog could scale over a fence. It was incredible. We have, Bill, I thought you were from Oklahoma. It said something about Oklahoma, but you're from Oregon. Okay, I'll change that. Yeah, so you and Gloria, both from Oregon. I know, Karen, 4. I thought I was going to lose my mind. So I had 2 really slow weeks right before school. I mean, all of my friends that are trainers, we were all slow. So just right after that, I felt like I couldn't say no to anything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, 7 dogs in one weekend is going to be really hard. But one was just boarding, and it was for a client. So I said I would do it. The other 3 were board and train. And yes, all puppies. So it was terrible. And then yesterday I had 5 dogs here and it was raining hard. So my house was a literal like mud bath. I had to get up early and like clean, sweep. I had to mop twice just to get all the mud out. It was a nightmare. So yes, my other one goes home tomorrow and then I get a break from board and train for a little bit. Brian, digging is still a problem. My yard is getting ruined and eating mulch. So are you giving her an outlet for the digging, like a sandbox type thing or a pool with balls in it so that she can dig in that? Because, sometimes dogs like to dig and then lay in the dirt. So especially in the summer, they'll lay in the dirt because it's cooler. So and sometimes it can be a boredom thing. So I would make sure that your dog is getting enough enrichment. One thing you could do is get a towel and like put treats in, roll it, put more treats, roll it, so that your dog can do that digging motion and dig through the towel for the treats. And so it lets your dog express that like wanting to dig, only in a different outlet. So again, because pit bulls are diggers, I let my dogs dig in one area in the yard, and that's it. And then if they start to dig in another area, I just interrupt them. Hey, and then redirect them. So I would do that as well. Sorry, I have to take. I've had a migraine since Monday, and Monday night I had to teach puppy class. I had to teach 2 classes and my head was literally throbbing. I don't know how I made it through. I think it was the weekend of like 4 extra puppies and then the devil dog that went home today that You guys, I've never had a dog try my patience like this dog. I mean, this dog was, like, too much. I don't know how the owners do it, but that's probably why it came to do a board and train. Um, I'm going backwards now just to make sure I got all the questions. She digs and rips the grass and zooms before she poops. So one thing that you could do is take her out on a leash and walk her around, say go potty, um, and get her to do that. And then when she goes potty, you can unclip her, let her do the zoomies. But if she starts to dig, then interrupt and say, hey, we don't dig there. But if she does it like before she poops, I would take her out on a leash and walk her around until she does it. And that way, she won't dig and rip up the grass before she goes. I know. So, Nicole, my poor cat, hang on, with all the dogs, I would put all the dogs out or crate them and give the cat some free roam time, but not as much as she usually gets. So, she is like really um, wanting to get out. The reason she's not out right now is because I have the dog door open so that all these guys can go out and potty if they need to while I'm on here with you. And my cat likes to go outside, but I live on a highway, so I don't want her to go outside and get hit by a car. So I do take her out on a harness and a leash and give her outside time. But when I can't supervise or if I have to have the dog door open, then she's in there. So yeah, she's pretty entertaining. I let her out today and she got the zoomies. It's so funny to see cats get the zoomies. It's just like dogs, but for some reason, it's like really cute. Like she'll get the zoomies and then she'll jump over the baby gate and go upstairs. And yeah, she's, oh, laying beside a dead mouse. Ooh, well, but why are you firing your cat? Because at least the mouse was dead and your cat did its job. I would fire my cat if I came home and found a live mouse. But if it's a dead mouse, that means that maybe your cat is mousing and that's what we want. So, um let's see, Bill, I know young puppies have sensitive stomachs, so how long should I wait before giving her rich treats? I think with the Pupford treats, you can start giving them now. I mean, where'd my treats go? I just had them. I use the there. I use these, and I use them on 8-week-old puppies, and no problem. I use the salmon a lot. Oh my gosh, these guys heard the bag, and everybody came running. I use the salmon, and if dogs, I've had a few puppies say that they got diarrhea, or their owner said they got diarrhea. So then I switched to like rabbit or beef liver. So, but with these, they're freeze dried. Oh, you are from Oklahoma. How did I must be like really confused tonight. So I would try the freeze dried. They're only a calorie and um, they're pretty good. There's not like additives and fillers and stuff like that. And again, I use the salmon for high value, so that's pretty like what I call rich, but it's okay for the dogs to have. So I would try the Pupford treats. I know they have a few new flavors out. I think one's blueberry. So any fruit based one is going to be fine for your dog. So I would try those. Nicole, let's see. She was on leash and I immediately said off and she got down, but I was late because she already got up before I saw. She came to me and asked me to pick her up so she could see. It just scared me since I was late. I think if I would have saw before she left, she would have listened to me. Yeah. Yeah, and I think as long as your dog's, like, on a leash, that's even better because then if the dog isn't paying attention, you can kind of reel them in. Um, and yeah, some dogs are just curious and, um, so so yesterday when I was up on the roof trying to fix it or patch it, Jade follows me around everywhere, and so I access the roof through a window upstairs. So the next thing I know, Jade had jumped out the window to come and be with me on the roof, and it freaked me out. I didn't want her to fall, so I just put her back in, closed the window. Um, because yeah, sometimes they're just curious. They want to come see what we're doing. I also didn't want her tracking roofing tar all over my house and getting it all over her. So I just put her back in and shut the window. So, yeah, at least nothing bad happened, and it's a good lesson learned. So now you can um, kind of be aware as to like what's going on in your dog's environment. Um, okay, let's see. Puppy nipping and biting. Okay, this is what I do for nipping and biting. It's normal for dogs to do it because they explore the world with their mouth, and that's how um, dogs learn bite inhibition is they bite their siblings when they're playing. So what I do is if a dog is biting or nipping, I will redirect to a toy. So it's like, oh, you can't bite me, but here's a toy, you can chew on this. um that's strike one. Strike two would be the dog doesn't want the toy and goes back to biting you. Then it's calmly pick your dog up, put him in a crate with a toy. We always want to put a toy or a chew item in the crate so that it's not a punishment. And do it for 1 minute so the dog can decompress and like kind of calm down. So it's like a little mini timeout, but it's not a bad timeout. Then, if the dog comes out and bites you again a third time, it's calmly put him back in the crate with a treat or a toy, cover the crate, and your dog gets a nap. Because a lot of dogs will get actually worse with nipping and biting when they're really tired. So, um, a lot of a lot of times, just giving them a nap is going to help to get them, um, and it will pass. It's a puppy phase, and that's one of the things I had to work on for the past week with this devil dog was biting and nipping. So it was constant, like redirecting, um, crating, like stuff like that. So okay, let me see if we have any. Oh, your dog was like nudging the mouse. Wow, that's cool though that they're trying to like wake it up. Um, oh yeah, I don't, Nicole. I do not like mice. I am the one on the table or chair screaming. Um, that mice are the only animal that I will kill. If a mouse gets into my house, they're done for because they do so much damage. Those little awful creatures do so much damage that that's one reason why I have a cat. And but yes, I have a pest control person come and I have traps and stuff around because I do not like mice. I don't want to see them. I don't care if they're dead or alive. Do not want to see them. So I am right there with you. Um, okay, let's do a drawing. And then if there's any other questions, I'm happy to stay and answer them. Um, And then next week it'll be on Thursday again. Not quite sure what time. Did six seem to work out really well? We had a lot of people here from New York all the way over to Oregon, so I might just make it 6 o'clock again. Um, I just want to make sure that. Oh, I was going to ask Gloria, how come Portland? What's going on in Portland right now? I don't have a TV, so I'm usually not up on the news, so I don't know what's going on. All right, just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Sometimes if I'm answering one person's question and then I see that they have like a follow up, I'll jump down and then I go back to make sure um, that I answered everybody. I'm going to go back and answer a few more of the long ones that that somebody had. So, but I will do a drawing, and then if you guys want to stay and hear the rest, you can, and um, if you need to take off, you can do that too. Um, okay, so let me mix all these up, and tonight's winner is Gloria Post Noble from Oregon. So congratulations, Gloria. What you're going to do is you're going to email hello@pupford.com. I'm putting it in the chat right now. And let them know what kind of treats you want, and they will send you a bag of the training treats that I just showed. So you can pick what kind, and they'll send you a free bag out. So congratulations. Yeah, I don't miss the news at all. So a lot of unrest, crime. Wow. I get it though. I moved into a rural place, and we've always been able to like leave our houses unlocked, leave the keys in the car, stuff like that. It was a small town farming community, but a lot of people are moving here from California and Texas and Florida, and so I do have like on Facebook, and we have next door, and I always see posts like somebody. I mean, not too long ago, somebody in our little community had shots fired into their house. Okay, we don't have gangs up here, so I don't know what that was about, but yeah, somebody has had shots fired through their window. People have had their car stolen. It's like you can't leave your car unlocked anymore, and you have to lock up your house at night or like when you're gone. So, yeah, it's kind of sad. I've been up here 30 years and it's definitely changing. So, I'm looking at when I retire, I want to go to either Idaho, I could do Oregon. I love Wyoming. Um, Montana. So, yeah. Okay, so Gloria, did I answer your question? So look up two um, and see where it says host and then hello@pupford.com. You just email them and say, I won the free drawing. I would like to try some salmon treats, or just pick whatever flavor. If you're new, they have salmon, beef liver, rabbit, sweet potato, and chicken. And then they have two new ones that I think are blueberry and banana. Can't remember, but give them your address. They will send you out your treats. So, oh, Gloria, we could like go to Montana and be neighbors. Then we could like watch each other's dogs when we leave. Okay. So I'm going to go back up and answer some more of the long one because I didn't get them all. And I'll go till about like 7:30, and then I have to go still do our last training session for this one. Okay, so I think I got down to, so with the jumping, I would teach the dog a sit. So if a dog is sitting, they're not jumping. So my dog, um, my little pitty is a terrible jumper. Like she jumps for attention, she jumps to say hi. She's part Boston Terrier, so they're like little pogo sticks. And so I she does know off, but then I'll ask her to sit because if she's sitting, she's not jumping. So you want to pick something that's incompatible. So going back to the bark, if your dog is barking, teach them to hand target. Like just touch your, so that all they do is you say touch, they touch their nose to your hand. And I usually start with a treat in between my fingers to lure them. But they have to do it with a closed mouth. So if they're targeting, they're not barking. And if they're sitting, they're not jumping. Um, and so with the grabbing of your clothes, I do the same thing. If the dog is biting at clothes, I redirect. Um, and do the whole like kennel thing. The other thing you can do is a flirt pole. So I know Pupford sells them. There's a really good link you can get on YouTube and look up like how to use a flirt pole, because that way the dog and Renee and Brian, this might be good for Peyton. The dog can chase, grab, tug, and but your hands, like it's like a fishing pole with a toy on the end, and that lets the dog do all that stuff. But your hands are over here, so your hands are nowhere near the dog's mouth, and it tires them out. So I also add a little impulse control game into it where I'll ask the dog to sit and wait while I lower the toy, and as long as they wait when I lower it. If they try to go for it, I move it back. So they wait, and then I'll say go, and then I'll start to like make it go around on the ground, and I let them chase. They can grab it, they can tug, they can shake, and then I'll teach it drop it. So it also helps dogs to, because we really amp them up, but then we have them calm down for a second, and then I go the other way. So I would try to do something like that. Flirt pole, doing the crate breaks. And then, yes, I use off as well so that it doesn't get confused and with down. Now, when you say you take his paws, if you take the dog's paws and put them on the ground, then the dog's not actually doing it, and then they don't learn. So it's kind of like if I'm riding in a car with somebody, but I'm not driving, then if I drive, I would not know how to get there because I didn't actually do it. So I will take a treat. So let's say the dog is jumping on you. I'll put a treat right in front of their nose and I'll say off, and I'll lure them away, either off of me, off the counter, whatever. I'll say off. And as soon as the dog's front feet leave whatever surface it's on, that's when I click and treat. Now, some dogs will learn if I jump up, they'll tell me off, and then I'll get a treat for getting off. So once I'm sure that the dog understands what off means, then I will ask the dog to do 3 or 4 things before I give them the treat. So I'll say off. Once they get off, then I'll say sit, touch, down, and then I reward so that they don't always associate it with the off. But I'm glad you're using off instead of down. And yeah, and then I would add in the sit. So ask your dog to sit because then they're not jumping. And then with counter surfing or resource guarding, so this is my opinion on resource guarding. I don't believe in taking your dog's food away or putting your hands in their food. And if my dogs have a toy or a chew item that I've given them, it's theirs. And they know that they get to eat it in peace. They know that I'm not going to try and take their food away. So think about if you go to a restaurant and you're eating and the waiter comes and tries to take your food and you're like, hey, I'm not done yet. That's all a growl is. And if your dog's peeing, he's probably afraid, like, oh my gosh, they're going to take my food. Um, so I would let him eat in peace and just don't go anywhere near his food. And then when he's done, then you can pick up the bowl. So I will also teach trades. So I will start out with, I'll use these since I have them right here. So I have two yak chews. So I'll give one, and then while the dog's chewing on it, I might give a bigger one, and I'll say, "Oh, you want this one? You got to drop it." And sometimes I'll put the it right up to their nose, and so you have to offer something of equal or higher value. Because if they have a yak chew, but you're only offering a milk bone, your dog's probably not going to want to give up a yak chew for a milk bone. Um, so I will say, like, "Oh, do you want this one? You got to drop it." And then as soon as the dog drops it, I mark it. So I'll like click yes, and then give this one. Then I will offer something of equal or higher value to this. So we'll just keep trading. So in the dog's mind, it's like, oh, I give something up, then I get something better. And then sometimes I give the original item back. So we'll trade back and forth two really fun things. And so the dog, and then if it's something the dog doesn't, that I don't want them to have, like socks or, something, hair ties, then I'll just, take it, but I'll still give the treat. But I will make sure that it's better than what they have. So yes, with that, and that's why I really don't hand feed as well, because I don't want the dog to think like, oh, my food is in their hand and they could take it away at any time. So I would, you could feed him in his crate, feed him behind a baby gate, just give him space when he eats, but let him eat and know that you're not going to come near his food and you're not going to try and take it. Then eventually we can work on tossing high value treats towards his bowl and then slowly getting closer. But I wouldn't do that for a while. I wouldn't even try that yet. And I wouldn't get loud with him and show him who's boss. No. A lot of vets don't really know anything about behavior. And so all that's going to do is scare the dog. And when a dog growls, all they're saying is, you're too close to my stuff, or I don't like what you're doing. And that is the dog's verbal way of saying they want you to back off. And I actually like it when a dog growls at me. Whoops. Because it's a warning. And so let's say you get loud and show him who's boss. Well, the next time he might be like, okay, last time I growled, I got in trouble. Whoops. Oh, sorry, I just dropped a aspirin on the floor, and I didn't want my dog to get it. So I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? I know we're talking about resource guarding. I'm taking a different kind of medicine for my head because it will not stop. Oh, yeah. So if we yell or show the dog who's boss, but really they just want to protect their food, then it could cause the dog to then go to a bite. Like, well, when I warn you, so it's like, okay, I told the waiter I'm not done with my food, and he keeps trying to take my plate. So now instead of just telling him, no, I'm not done, I'm going to punch him. So you escalate until they listen. And a dog's going to do that too. They're going to growl, and then they're going to bite. So I would just give him space. And I definitely would not get loud and show him who's boss. That has no place in dog training, especially when you have a dog that is like, afraid that you're going to take food, stuff like that. And yes, if it's a real problem, if you have guests over, no, I would not yell or raise your voice. If it's a public setting and you have guests over, I would just put your dog in another room with a stuffed frozen Kong or a lick mat and let your dog stay in there while you have company. Or put him in a crate, cover the crate, have some music on, and just let him chill out there, with something else. And and then you might need a trainer, um, to come and help you with the like work through it. So to me, just from what you've written, it sounds like the going to the bathroom in the house is definitely behavioral, and it could be anxiety. For a dog that has like anxiety, is peeing in the house, is resource guarding, um, you might need anti-anxiety meds. But depending on how old your dog is, well, let me go back and see. Oh, 5 months. Okay. Um, yeah, I don't like to put puppies on meds, but I would talk to your vet about it. I'm not a vet. So, and then since he is crated a lot of the day, um, I would make sure you're adding in some good enrichment. Again, snuffle mat, flirt pole, enrichment boxes. So I will save my Pupford, my Amazon boxes, and then I'll spread peanut butter in the bottom, throw in some kibble or treats, fold it up, give it to the dog, and let them tear it apart. Like, let them shred it. It only takes 10 seconds to clean up, and the dogs get so much out of it. So, because you're now back to school, something's changed in your dog's environment, make sure that he is still getting he's getting walks a day, so that's good. But um, I would also put in some mental enrichment. So again, anything that causes him to use his brain. So treat dispensing toys like the Kong wobbler I showed you, flirt pole. Like, I would start to add in some of that. Um, and I would do like some nose work, like, put treats around the house and let him sniff it out and find it. So dogs that do some type of nose work every day have fewer behavioral issues. Oh, the other trainer that works with me, her dog went through this phase where he was peeing on the bed at night. Now this dog is totally potty trained, and she would have to get up in the middle of the night, change the sheets, because her dog would pee on the bed. Now her dog is a very nervous, timid kind of dog. So she upped his enrichment and started doing more snuffle mat, more um, of the enrichment boxes, and it took care of itself. Her dog now has gone like 3 weeks without peeing in the bed at night. So I would try that and see if that doesn't help with a lot of it. Okay, I'm going to go to the end really quick and see if there's any other questions. Um, okay. Oh, Maria, I can answer. I'm jumping in late. We have been working on recall, and my dog is getting pretty good at it, but every once in a while she does not respond. We now practice when on a walk on the beach. Yeah, so what I do is, if my dog doesn't come when I call them, for one thing, if your dog's off leash and if she doesn't come every single time, I would use a different word because I don't want to ruin the COME word. So I will say, hey, over here, let's go. I'm leaving you. And then still reward if the dog comes. But I like to save come when the dog is on leash until they learn it really, really good and can do it reliably. So yes, I would leash her for the rest of the walk, especially. So if a dog finally comes, so if my dogs are sniffing but they finally come to me, I reward them. If I have to go get them, then I'm going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry, you just lost your off leash privilege. But yeah, if your dog isn't coming back, then they get leashed for the rest of the walk. And the other thing I would do is use a longer leash, not retractable. I hate retractable leashes. But use a longer leash so that your dog can still roam and sniff, especially on a beach. Like, I'd get a 15 or 20 foot leash, And that way, if you say, COME, and if your dog ignores you, then you can start to reel in the leash and make it super fun. Like, oh, come on, we're going to go this way. Let's go, let's go. And then reel your dog in and give a treat. So that way you can help the dog choose to come. Does that make sense? So if the dog's off leash and doesn't have a perfectly reliable recall, I don't use the C word. I'll just say, let's go. We're going this way, leaving you. But then I do reward when they come. So, but yes, the other option is just having her on a leash the rest of the time. But if I lived on the beach and could go on the beach, then I would probably have my dog on a long line, knowing that they're going to want to go sniff and play in the water and they're not going to come back. So I would have the dogs on a long line, because that way they can still play and still do fun stuff. And but you can reel them in and get them to come to you if you need to. So, okay. So thanks everybody for joining. We had a great group tonight and really, really good questions. So thank you. I will see you guys next Thursday. We'll probably do Thursday at 6 again, because that seemed to work. So everybody have a great week. If I didn't get to I think I got all the questions. If I didn't, you can ask them in the Facebook page. And there's me and a few other trainers that get on every day and try to answer questions. So yeah, we can answer it that way as well. So you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next week.